It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Greensboro College Pride's head women's basketball coach, Coach Heather Macy. How are you doing today?
Hey, Brandon, great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in college coaching?
Well, it was a long, long time ago. That was the first thing I would tell you. I'm just finished my 23-year coaching career, and I feel like it was just yesterday I got going. It's such a passion for me. But back then, in the old days, I'm going to say it like that, coaches had to do other things. So they coached multiple sports, they taught a class. And so I was a two-sport college athlete here at Greensboro College, tennis and basketball, really for one reason only, which was to increase my resume so that I was qualified to coach more than one sport. And so master's degree, the reason you got a master's degree so that you would allow yourself to do more things. And so I just find it such a blessing to be able to do the thing that I love to do, but it has definitely evolved through time.
Of course, what was that like going to Greensboro College to play basketball and tennis?
Well, first, GC for me, it's in downtown Greensboro, which is the third largest city in North Carolina. For me, it might as well have been New York City. I mean, it's like the big city. So you're talking about small kids, small town USA, driving down Interstate 40 with their parents, and you go down West Market Street, which is the street kind of come up to get to the college, right downtown. And as I'm driving, the houses look like that they're ginormous, multi-million dollar houses. Now I drive through there and I always just shake my head like I can't believe like the way that I saw that as an 18-year-old kid on a visit. But it's still the most beautiful campus I've ever been on. And every day I pull up to work, I feel that way. No different than I felt when I was 18 years old.
What was that like getting to put on that uniform for the Greensboro College?
Well, putting it on every day, I probably didn't value it as much as the final time that I took it off. And we had three seniors on this year's team, and that's one of the things I told them is the last time you unlace those shoes, the last time you take that uniform off, it's just a point of everybody's life. We have these things that happen that you lean on and you go like ding, ding, ding. I call it bells. There's these bells that happen in our lives, and that's a bell. And so the recognizing of that and be able to help kids understand, like really appreciate this time you've got there, because none of us really appreciate it kind of when we're going through it. It's retrospective after the fact.
As a player, what was that feeling like getting inducted into the Greensboro Hall of Fame?
Well, it was cool because it was with all my teammates. So I was the baby on that NCAA tournament team in '97. And so those are still some of my best friends to this day. A lot of the people that I went to college with and played with are still here in the area. So being able to kind of hang out with them and have a built-in friend network support system has just been such a blessing.
What was that feeling like getting to play in that NCAA 97 tournament?
Well, pretty cool, right? Like you as a player, '97, and then this year, 2023, us being able to make the NCAA tournament. It just feels like life kind of comes full circle. So it's very rewarding. I feel like there's no question that coaching here is a mission. I just feel like that I've just had such an opportunity to be back home and such an opportunity to work at a place that I love that I'll tell you something. I don't know if I deserve to be treated as good as I've been treated, but very, very thankful for it.
Of course, after your playing career, what was that like getting into college coaching and leaving Greensboro to go take another coaching job?
It was scary. The college coaching is a scary world, and there's a lot of unknowns. And every season something changes. The number one thing you can guarantee is there's going to be uncertainty in this industry. So I moved a lot. Before I got to ECU, the longest I'd ever had a job was 3 years. Still, the longest I've ever been here is 8.5. But as I had a coaching friend tell me recently, but coaching's more like dog years. So you really can't see it as like 3 years. You have to see it as 21 years. And so I'm going on that a little bit, but it's tough because it's a lot of change. So I think you get used to some change, and then you've got to be incredibly adaptable.
What was that feeling like getting your first Division I job as an assistant coach at High Point?
So very fortunate to be there. High Point had just kind of made that Division II to Division I transition. And so, I mean, it's kind of like broke in, right? So I was very pleased. That was out only after 2 years, and being a Division I experience was an assistant was a great experience for me because I just really learned how to recruit, learned how to host visits, and so I was fortunate enough to work for a lot of great coaches that allowed me to make mistakes, and I think it allowed me to learn rapidly so that I would be better prepared to become a head coach.
What was that feeling like when you did take that next step to become a head coach for the first time?
Scarier than jumping into college athletics. I was 26 years old, Brandon. So I was just a baby when I became a head coach. And so thankful to have gotten an opportunity. So Bobby Stewart is who hired me to become a head coach at Pfeiffer. And we're still very close to this day. And I tell him, like, what an idiot you were to hire a 26-year-old to run the basketball team. And he said, I don't know. You've made me out to be kind of smart. But I was just thankful in that city. This is well before social media. And in that city, there was only a newspaper that ran every Tuesday and Thursday. So it became a okay for the basketball coach because by the time I had screwed it up on a Saturday, it was irrelevant for that Tuesday paper. So, I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of great lessons, but a lot of great fun that I had becoming a young head coach. You just don't know what you don't know. So I was an assistant for 5 years, head coach for 5 years. So it took me a decade before I was able to become a Division I head coach.
What was that transition like from going from Pfeiffer to Francis to become a head coach?
Yeah, so Francis Marion is a great job. One of the best women's college basketball jobs in the country, in my opinion, because Coach Sylvia Hatchell was there 11 years and won two national championships. She really put it on the map. And at that point, it was like the seventh all-time winningest program in the country. So it's a really historic program. Like if you look back and see all the coaches who've coached there, it's pretty impressive. And then Pearl Moore, who scored over 4,000 points, and this was prior to the three-point line. Pearl's a great friend, still lives in town, but I'm telling you, some great, great people there. And I think that's what this business is all about. It's about the people. So as all the stops, you're asking about all these colleges, okay, you could talk about the colleges, but I think you've got to go like another level deeper and go, it's the people at those colleges, because those are the relationships that, the people I'm still hearing from and talking to, and they're checking in on our scores and shooting me a text message like, hey, we're following, like, oh my gosh, how many of you guys won in a row? And just great friends to this day. And I think that's what college athletics, it stopped being about, but it needs to be about. We've got to get back to the core reason and the root as to why we get into this industry.
As a head coach at Francis, what was that like taking that team to the Sweet 16?
Well, at Francis Marion, what I can tell you for sure is Sweet 16 isn't quite enough. So we were 27-5 2 consecutive years. We made the NCAA tournament 3 years in a row, and it was like underachieving. It's a national championship or bust at a place like that. So make it a Sweet 16. I'll never forget. I would get emails, and they would read like sympathy letters. Like, we're so sorry that we fell short, and this is just so terrible. And I'm thinking, holy cow! Like, we just finished the Sweet 16 run. But we had a lot of success, but we had a lot of great, great players. And so I'm sitting around waiting for those kids to be inducted into the Hall of Fame because I'm telling you something, those kids could really, really play.
Leaving Francis, what was that like taking that ECU job and becoming the next head coach for them?
It was a huge challenge. It was a huge challenge, from the switching of conferences there, from the travel schedule. It was really, really a tough travel, the airplane for every single conference game, but so rewarding, so rewarding. And, you love a challenge and then you love to do first. And so we're really proud of we put a 3-year window of time that was just kind of an unprecedented thing there. And the community support. We went on a 26 consecutive home game winning streak. That was only second behind UConn during that stretch. So, there were some things like that I don't talk about that often that I think you have to look back on it later and reflect and be like, that's a cool stat. But the work that went behind it from the day to day to do it, that's what you look back on and go, whoa, like, I mean, how did we do that? How did we sustain that? Like, that was just took incredible amounts of resolve and resiliency.
How does it feel for you to know that you're the one of the most winningest coaches at ECU?
Well, that's cool, right? It's cool because it's the fruits of your labor. But what I look at more than anything is that just, God blessed me to coach a lot of great players throughout my career. And I told our team, the first team meeting this year, I said, I have gotten to a point that I have just a lot of prayer time based upon recruiting. So I've always felt like I'm a good recruiter, but I've changed the way that I recruit. And so in my prayer time, it goes more like this: like, God, who do you want me to work with this year? Who do you want to be beside me every day? And how can you put those right people? Will you please put those right people around me? And so that's what I do in recruiting. So the very first team meeting, I looked at them and I go, listen, this is bigger than us. And there's a reason that you've been put here. There's a reason I've been put here. So let's just maximize it. And I think that was my intent in my heart every day when I show up in Hank's gym. And I think our kiddos understand that. I think they believe that. And I think that they enjoy it just as much as I enjoy it.
What has it been like leading you all the way to Greensboro College, and how has your previous coaching stops helped you along the way?
My college roommate painted a sign for me for my very first office, and the sign it's a paraphrase of a Bible verse in Esther, and it says, "For such a time as this," and it's been above the door of every office I've ever had. Currently, it's above the door at Greensboro College, and so I just constantly look to that as a reminder for such a time as this, and I believe that the time that I had at ECU was simply to prepare me for the time that is coming and for the next time that this happens and the next time that happens. And so that's how I see life. Everything is connected. I don't think things happen and it's isolated. And so if you believe that and the things are really connected, then I think that you can live your life with a lot more contentment. And I think that that's how I walk every day.
What was it like getting to come to Greensboro College and becoming the next head coach there?
Oh, it was really, really cool. Kim Strabel hired me. Coach Strabel was the athletic director when I was in school. And so to get to work for him every single day, um, great man, great man, high integrity, and just the vision caster of a leader. And so I feel very fortunate to be the leader of the basketball team.
What was that feeling like coming back home to your alma mater to become the next head coach?
Well, I appreciated their trust in me. I also know that for my family, I think this has been the closest that I've lived to home in a long, long time. So it was nice for me to see them a lot more often. And so I just feel like it's an incredible blessing. And you know what? I'm pretty thankful that we've done a lot of first here and we're in the record books. The last thing you want to do is go back to your alma mater and not be very good. So I'm pretty thankful that we've done a lot of winning.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a head coach?
Well, it looks different now than it's looked at some other places because our travel, GC, we're so centralized and we're kind of in the middle of our league. So our travel is simple. So I'm able to get home and we go up, we play the game. I'm able to come home, sleep in my own bed. So that's been really, really nice. We don't have a lot of long trips. So we do that as far as our non-conference scheduling. We schedule a little bit, like we went to Puerto Rico this year. So we do some stuff in non-conference to give the kids an experience, because I think that's the big thing. They finish, they need to make sure that they've grown, and not just in a basketball arena or an academic arena. It's really important to me that the kids that we recruit here feel like that they're growing socially, and they're growing emotionally, and they're growing spiritually. They're not just growing physically and academically. And so if we can hit all of those and they grow in all of these different areas, then they're better equipped for what they do after college. And that's my number one role. Like, are you equipped for what is next? And if that answer is yes, then you feel like you did a great job.
As a head coach, what is it like, obviously, as you said, traveling to Puerto Rico for your players to see that, where sometimes those players might not ever go out of the country?
Well, basketball afforded me so many opportunities for travel, and I'm just giving it back. And so I think that little orange ball takes us to places we never thought we would go. And so I'm so thankful that our college has supported us in increasing the travel. And it was a once in a lifetime trip. I mean, we had we won 2 games, which I was pleased about. The weather was incredible, and we were able to do some historic things and some sightseeing. And so I know it's a memory, it's a trip that the kids will always cherish.
What are some of your biggest accomplishments right now as a head coach for Greensboro College?
Well, we've obviously gone on some winning streaks, and we've made the NCAA tournament. We've won a couple of championships, and I think that we've been incredibly consistent. I mean, we've lost one conference game in 2 years, so I'm real proud of the consistency, and I'm really thankful for the type of player and the level of player that I get to coach every day.
How's that been like, as obviously as a coach and an alma mater of the school, to take them to the NCAA tournament?
Well, it has been um, fun. Let me use that word first. I think I've already talked about how rewarding it is, and how blessed I feel. So I'm just going to say it's been fun. Um, every day I pull up to my office and I feel excited to get out of the car. Every day I walk onto the practice court and I grab my whistle. I feel incredible amounts of gratitude. And so um, when you have been in other situations that haven't felt like that, this is a refreshing change up. And so I'll use the word refreshing to finish that question.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built as a coach for your alma mater of Greensboro College?
Well, the culture is built around the emotional intelligence work that I do. And so that is how we build the foundation of our program. And so, EQ is a huge element in everything that I do in my personal life as well as in my professional life. And so it's our seniors leave a legacy project. And so part of their legacy project was actually the EQ, the red and the gold and the green. And so I was so proud of them. I've coached them for 3 seasons. And so I just love the fact that that's what they used for their legacy. And I thought, yeah, we're doing something pretty cool. I think we're in uncharted waters. We do things a little bit differently, but man, it's hard to argue with the results we're having.
Who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
Well, GreensboroCollegeSports.com, you can go in and look at everybody that we play, but it's mostly regional opponents, and we compete in the USA South Conference.
What is that feeling like as a head coach to get to step on that field that you played your basketball career at?
Well, the first time that I went out there as a coach, it was super weird. And it felt strange because that's the same court that I had run the same sprints on. And that's back in the old days. And Steve Johnson was my coach. He tried to kill us every single day. You could tell coach I said that. And so I got on that line, as a player. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. So stepping on the very first day, I was probably a little bit taken back because it's been a long time since I'd even been back to the college or been on the court. But now, uh, every single day, it just feels like contentment would probably be the word I would use.
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes?
Well, recruiting is an inexact science, and it's something that we do every single day. So our goal here is to win a national championship, and the only way to do that, you got to have great players. So every single day, if you're not recruiting, it's very difficult to get great players. So I'm going to hang up with you, Brandon, and I'm going to actually visit with a recruit in our admissions office and then take her around. So it's an everyday deal, whether we're on the phone or we're on watching video or we're hosting a recruit. So it's an important thing that we do. And it for the sustainability of our program, it's the number one thing we do.
What is that feeling like as a coach to see those players get to put on that same uniform that you put on?
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I take it very personal. They know that when they put number 22 on, it's not just 22. That would be a face or a name and my best friend that wore those jersey numbers. So it's important. And I want them to bring honor to not just the way that they play the game, but to our college.
What is it like seeing those seniors go on and do great things outside of the University of Greensboro?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for them. They'll walk in May. They all have a game plan. I think that they got a strong game plan for what's ahead of them, and so they know I'm always their biggest fan, and I'm going to be hard on them. I'm going to tell them the truth, but ultimately, I'm pulling for them like crazy.
What is it like as a coach seeing them play professionally, whether it's overseas or in Athletes Unlimited?
Well, I think it's a great thing if that's what they aspire to do. If basketball is able to take them to a professional career where they're able to travel, I say play as long as you could possibly play till you're 40 years old, because it is a great game that's given us so much.
What are some of your future plans as the head coach for Greensboro College?
Well, sustainability is kind of my theme right now, because we've done a lot of cool things, and now it's like, okay, can you go make it better? Because making it better doesn't look like a 75% change up. It's 1 or 2% either way, and the margin for error has become very small for us.
What advice would you give those high school athletes looking to play college basketball?
Work on your game, continue to get better, and then attack that process.
What advice would you give those freshmen that are entering their first year of college basketball?
Be patient. The transition to college is it's not easy, right? And so you've got to make sure that you can see it from a long-term perspective.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to play professionally, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or the WNBA?
Go do it. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the experience. Work hard every single day.
What advice would you give those people such as yourself that were players that are looking to get into college coaching?
To me, it's the best profession in the world. But you've got to make sure that it fits your personality. You've got to like change, never the same day, 2 days in a row, and make sure that you have the versatility to be able to do something like this.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to get into coaching and coaching at their alma mater?
Well, have a great reputation. Be known as a really hard worker. Do things the right way. Because if you want to come back 20 years down the road, you want to make sure that a lot of those same people when I was in school still here. So you want to make sure that they had a high impression of you.
What advice would you give those future head coaches that are looking to build their own program and build their own legacy?
Keep learning. Never stop growing in this, because basketball is ever evolving, and you want to make sure that whether it's an offensive system that you're putting in or developing practice plans or just the recruiting landscape, that you stay on the cutting edge.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Greensboro College Pride app?
Well, I'm not on social media that often, but you can follow me at 2 Feet In Heather Macy. You can go to my website at go2feetin.com, or the Greensboro College website is greensborocollegesports.com. Would love to hear from you. Shoot me an email, give me a phone call, and if I can do anything to help everybody, I'd be glad to do it.
Thank you again, Coach Heather Macy, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the Greensboro College Pride's head basketball coach.
Thanks, Brandon. Go Pride.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Heather Macy, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.